Grand Rising. Had another experience yesterday, um, very early in the morning with anomalies in the sky. And I laugh, the reason I'm laughing is, and it goes right to acceptance and approval and, scorn and ridicule because I was a skeptic, I used to be a skeptic. And you're doing drugs, you're tripping, you're drunk, you're this, you're that. I made judgments on people. I was always fascinated with the experiences, and I always had kind of a, a lean towards sci-fi. It's quite a different experience when it happens to you, I assure you. Um, so scorn and ridicule aside, I've run out of fucks to give. Excuse the language, but the sentiment is quite relevant because I cannot deny the things that I've seen. Um, today is the 23rd of November, 2020. This was yesterday. And then prior to that, I did another video where I was very emotional. I went back and I looked at it and I was like, you were still very much riding the emotional wave of the experience. And I recall back in my days as being a counselor, and I can't remember the exact term, but as a counselor, we had to do a great deal of paperwork on a daily basis on our clients, counselor, social worker. And I recall, it's very early, you guys. It's like 3:30. It's 3:30 a.m. Very dark out. But I recall in that career, the amount of documentation and and basically everything was written down, and we had to go to classes about how to um, write objectively, and basically the gist of it, what you saw, what you heard, what was blammo in your face, what was there, to leave opinion, speculation, and your feelings out of it. And my last video and it's labeled 11/7/20, and I think it says 11/7/20 bizarre experience, something like that. But I could definitely tell that my emotions were still very much in that share. I was offering opinions about how this experience felt to me, or what how I perceived it. But going to yesterday's experience, what I learned from documentation, they'll shut you up pretty quick, man. When you're in a courtroom, or there's a legal proceeding regarding one of your clients, and you have to express something that you had written, and they shut you up pretty quick, if you have not expressed yourself well. What you saw, what you heard, facts, man, just the facts. So with that, this experience that I had yesterday, I'm going to be a lot more factual about what I saw, what I experienced, not the feeling or sensation or the emotions of it. It was I will say this, I'll preface this way. It was a very exciting experience. But what did I see? So, same time of the day as the November 7th experience, I was going out to my car again. So that would be somewhere between 5 and 5:30 a.m. Kittery, Maine, Eastern Seaboard, Eastern Standard Time. 5:15 and dark, dark, dark. As one would imagine. Darkest before the dawn, and there weren't many house lights, street lights. So I had an amazing view of the clear, clear, crystal clear sky. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. It was just a blanket of stars. I wasn't expecting to see anything. I was just enjoying the night sky and the stars. And I began panning around, and I'm very familiar. I've lived in my house for 6 years, whatever, and I know north, south, east, and west from my house. I know where the sun rises and sets. I know what east and north, from my vantage point is. And I had gone outside, started my car, and proceeded to look up, continue to look up in the sky, and panned from the southeast around. I was standing on my porch, and quite literally, the direction I'm facing now, as you're looking at me, the direction I'm facing now is north northwest. So from your purview, pointing to my left is north northwest, and I had spun around, and I was, I was just looking at the stars, and suddenly I saw. Now, in my last share, there was one red orangey object, what I described as a dull red, perceptibly could have been orange. Okay, dull red orange. In that video, I saw one of these dull red orange objects. Yesterday morning, I saw two of these red orangey objects. Initially, it was one going in an erratic northwesterly direction. As I was standing on my porch behind me outside, going into the northwest direction, and then in a split second, it was two. So either there was two the entire time and I just could only see one, or one showed up and then there was two. And then to my westerly viewpoint, as I was like panning the sky to see if there was more in the area to the west, rapidly approaching the two orangey red objects going in a northwesterly direction, from the west, from the southwest, came up a single white, flashing white, and it wasn't a constant flash. It was more like these pulses, maybe every 3 to 5 seconds. A pulse of white light was rapidly approaching the two red-orange objects in the sky. And I need to repeat again that these objects were not going in a straight line as one might think an airplane or even a satellite. A satellite's gonna, a satellite doesn't bop all over the sky and move. The two reds were bopping around. The white one was kind of bopping around. It wasn't in a streamlined direction. It wasn't going in a straight direction. It was kind of a little bit all over the place. And this experience was very quick, very quick. It lasted in its entirety probably about a minute and a half. And but out of the southwest, up came the white one, and it appeared to be following or chasing. Appeared to be following or chasing the two red ones. The red ones didn't increase in speed, they just stayed the same. But suddenly the white one lunged quickly toward them, and they gone. The two red ones were just gone. The white one remained, kept moving in that northwesterly direction for, let's just say, 10 seconds, and then flitted off like faster than fast back in the direction of south-southwest. And that was that. That was that. There was nothing else to see. This experience, again, this was a very quick one. It only lasted maybe a minute, minute and a half. But I saw what I saw, and I am unashamed. I am unembarrassed. It's factual. This is what I saw. This is what I saw. Interestingly enough, and I'm not going to name any names, but I have a friend who has a neighbor, and this goes back to the November 7th experience. On that same night, my friend saw my share regarding the 7th of November, and she was like, oh my God, my neighbor saw what you saw. Not all of it, but parts of it happening the same kind of so that was fascinating. That was fascinating. I've attempted to make contact with my friend's neighbor, but we'll share our video with you, and I can't share it because it's in a format that won't allow me to share these things, man. It's very frustrating because the object that they saw and that they were able to capture with their phone, the red orangey object, is the same exact red orangey object that I saw on the 7th. It's just it's mind blowing, but I respect their position, and their feelings for desiring anonymity around this. But it was no less a profound experience for them, and despite my attempts to contact them on via email or telephone number or whatever. Now the big thing is, now you got to remember, when you're looking up in the sky, this was on the 7th of November. This was again 5:30 in the morning, very dark here. And middle of the night for them. It was they had just gotten home from an event, something. It was a husband, a wife, and their son, and they were in Washington. They were in the state of Washington on the West Coast, and from the night sky, if you're viewing something in space, even with the circumference of the earth and taking in all those, they were witnessing the same thing that I was witnessing at the same time. I'm on the East Coast of the United States in Kittery, Maine, and they were in Washington. So it was 5:30 here. It was about midnight, 1 a.m. 3 hours behind. The same exact time they were videotaping the same experience I was having. Very interesting. And if this finds its way, again, so yesterday was November 22nd, and then there was another profound experience, the profound experience on the 7th of November, Kittery, Maine, USA. If you saw something and you'd like to share, please feel free. I'm going to leave my email in the description box. And fascinatingly enough, over the past couple of years, I've made mention of some other things, some anomalous flying objects in the sky that, and the way I originally described them was these very highly reflective, seemingly chrome-like, capsule-like, and it was amazing because I've since the experience on the 7th, I've been spending a fair amount of time weeding through UFO videos. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find examples of what I might have seen either on the 11th, last night, or in the past. And sure enough, these objects that I had seen, they were what I would describe as a fat tubular cigar, seamless. There was no front, there was no back, whatever. There was no evidence, or there was no flame shooting out, like a jet. It was there was no exhaust, and I mean these things were just insane. But I found a video yesterday, and if I can put the link in it in this video somehow, I'm not terribly tech savvy, so maybe I'll just like write the name of the video. In the beginning of the video, it's two fighter pilots that were that were scrambled. There was an anomalous flying object, and these two, I believe they were Marine fighter pilots, were scrambled, and they got this thing on their camera, and it was exactly what they described as, and I said fat tubular cigar shape. They described it as a highly reflective white. He said white. What I perceived was more like chrome-like, mirror-like. He said highly reflective white, so similarities there. Perceptibly, to me, it was chrome. To him, it was white, but highly reflective, seamless. And he described it as a giant, like one might perceive a giant Tic Tac. Roughly, I believe he roughly equated it scale wise. He had scale. He was flying over the ocean. One of the guys picked it up on his camera, and he had a bit of scale, his distance to the water as he was flying by this object and monitoring it. He said roughly the size of a large bus, and that fits in with what I had seen on, and I saw that particular object, the tubular object, on no less than 3 occasions, on 3 separate occasions. So very interesting stuff. Did my best to leave emotion and opinion out of this share, and simply base, share with you the facts of what I saw, what I heard, what was tangible, 3D perceptibly, and leave my emotion out of it. Again, my email will be in the description box, and I will effort to find the address or the title of the video that I made the connection with about the tubular shaped Tic Tac fat cigar. And again, please, if you want to share, you're not alone. I'm like, I can't unsee what I've seen so far. I can't unsee it, and it would be, in my opinion, a lie by omission if I didn't share what I've seen. Thank you very much, and peace that surpasses all understanding. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful day.